Absolutely wonderful. And at the very beginning, I'm just going to say, if anybody wants to help us with the Queen Edith Community Forum, please come and talk to anyone in a pink t-shirt. So for the hustings tonight, the way we've set this up is that we send out the newsletter every Friday for Queen Edith's Community Forum. If you don't get the newsletter, you're missing out. It tells you everything that you need to know about our area. There are flyers at the back, these little cards that if you pick up, you can then sign up for it for the future. So over the last few weeks, we've been asking for questions about what you wanted to ask our candidates for the South Cambridgeshire parliamentary candidates. These questions, hopefully all relevant to our area. We've chosen the ones we think are the most relevant. Therefore, not all the questions that were submitted will be asked, but hopefully they give us a flavour of the things that are relevant to our local area. So what we're going to do, the candidates haven't seen these questions in advance, and there won't be a chance to ask questions off the floor tonight, I'm afraid. But after we've done the hustings part of it, there'll be a chance for you all to talk to the candidates individually. So I'm going to hand over to Julian Clover, who's very kindly hosting this. Oh, and two other things. This is also being recorded for Cambridge 105, where Julian will tell you all about that bit, and Antony is also recording it, and it will be available on the website and in the newsletter this week as well. So I think that's it for me.
Exit poll.
I'll hand over to Julian.
Thank you very much, Claire. Just on the radio side of things to start off with, we'll recording obviously the entire session this evening and make that available in full on our website. Radio has its habit of working in hours, so we'll probably have to trim it down ever so slightly for broadcast, but of course silences, coughs, all that sort of stuff will squeeze the time down, so hopefully you won't miss anything. Welcome, thank you all for coming. I'm going to start off by introducing the candidates to you. Chris Carter-Chapman is the Conservative candidate, Luke Viner is with Labour, Miranda Fife, and next to me here with Greens, and Pippa Halings, the Liberal Democrat candidate. Now, we did extend an invite to both James Gordon, the Independent, who let us know today he was unable to come, and also to Harrison Edwards, who's the Reform candidate. I'm told that multiple attempts were made to invite him to come along, but sadly he declined the invitation. I'm going to start by asking all of our candidates to make an opening statement. That will be of 2 minutes duration, after which I'll go through my list of questions here, as Claire explained, it's been submitted by readers to the Queen Edith's newsletter, and again, candidates will have 2 minutes to answer. Don't feel obliged, everybody. If you feel you've run out of things to say after 1 minute 50, everybody will thank you for retaining those 10 seconds for use later on in the evening. So, let's start then with the opening statements. I'll start at this end with Pippa Halings for the Lib Dems.
Thank you. I'm Pippa Halings and I'm from the Liberal Democrats, and it's wonderful to be with you all this evening for all of us to tell you a little bit more about ourselves, why I'm standing, what I care about. Firstly, I'm a mum and I moved here to South Cambridgeshire with my husband and 2 children in 2012. But as you may hear during the evening from my accent, I grew up in Hull, and my mum was a staff nurse working nights and my dad a GP. And I think it was those deep roots within the NHS, joining my dad on his home visits to patients, that I fostered this sense of community service from a very early age. It also gave me a real sense of the deep inequalities that exist within our communities behind those front doors. And it's that sense of community service that has travelled with me all over, and I've volunteered with our girls' football team here, and also meant that I stood and was elected to the council in 2018 and then re-elected in 2022. When you hear us answering the questions tonight, I hope what you'll hear from me as a Liberal Democrat is that I care deeply about protecting our local environment. I care deeply about the NHS and social care. And my husband's life I owe to Adam Brooks. They saved him from leukemia. And as Liberal Democrats, I care deeply and passionately about giving voice to our local communities in shaping our area. and I know these are values you share. There are 3 reasons why you should vote for me. First, if you give me the honour of electing me as your MP, I will fight hard to represent your voice in decisions made locally or in Westminster. Second, every vote for a Liberal Democrat is for a strong local champion. We'll fight for the NHS, fight for those struggling with rents and mortgages and soaring food prices. And finally, every vote for the Lib Dems is the only party that can unseat the Conservatives here. Enough is enough, vote Lib Dem.
I'm Miranda Fife, your Green Party candidate. Here in Queen Edith, you're of course part of the rural leafy Shire constituency of South Cambridgeshire. And you don't need me to tell you that you host within your ward the ever-expanding metropolis of the Cambridge Biomedical Campus. That campus is the key focus of the gravitational pull of so many proposed large infrastructure projects. Working around the city from the west, we have the C2C busway plan, the East-West Rail proposed southern approach, the CSET busway plan, and finally, the proposed relocation of the existing sewage treatment plant to Honey Hill. All 4 of those controversial projects fall within the boundaries of this redrawn parliamentary constituency. No wonder the press picked up that it's hotly contested. Your neighbours in the rest of Cambridge City kicked out their last Tory MP in 1992. And I'm proud to say that one of the 500 odd votes by which Labour's Anne Campbell won then was mine. And it felt great. But here in Queen Edith, thanks to the rural Shire having 90% of the votes in this seat, you've had Conservative MPs continuously for nearly 60 years. So I can well imagine how very tempting it is for you to believe the polling, be hypnotised by those bar charts, and simply pick the candidate you're told is most likely to vote Tory. Kick out Tory, rather. But you're being played. This time in South Cambridgeshire, in 2024, you have no incumbent MP. Instead, you have 6 brand new, worthy candidates to choose from. None of us have done the job before. All of us think we would be capable. And votes cast in 2019 do not roll over. You have a free choice.
5 seconds.
It's up to you to decide who you actually trust to do the best job to represent you.
Hello there, oh, brilliant. My name's Luke Piner. I am the Labour candidate here in South Cambridgeshire. A little bit about myself first, just, it's all very interesting. I live in Fulbourn. I've lived in Fulbourn now for the past 5 years. I actually came here for work purposes just before the pandemic. I work in the tech and security sector and have done this entire time. I'm also a Fulbourn parish councillor and have been for a while now, and I understand the importance of how important it is to have a local voice really representing you in those areas. I've done some good work on that council, and I think I have the experience to fly elsewhere as well. Why am I deciding to do this? And it's a question that I ask myself quite frequently at the moment, I won't lie. But a lot of it is rooted in the same reasons that I joined the Labour Party, and it's because I grew up under a Labour government. And it's going to be the only time I mention my age, but I was actually born in 1997, about 20 days after Tony Blair got elected, which means I spent the first half of my life and my education under a Labour government. And it's only really when I became an adult and I look back on that time, I realised how much it affected me and how much it affected my family as well. When I went to school, my class sizes were under 30. My teachers weren't on strike because they were well paid. My teachers didn't have to go to Asda and Tesco to buy school supplies because the local authorities were well funded. I had an NHS that was there for me. I had a few ailments growing up, asthma, eczema, things like that. I had an NHS that was there for me. My parents were able to get me a GP appointment when they needed to, the medicine they needed to when I required it. All these things really, really mattered to me, and it's only really when I experienced the second half of my life under the coalition, under the Conservative government, I really realised actually how good we had it, and how good I had it, how good my family had it. And we have lost our way over the past 14 years, and I really believe that in South Cambridgeshire, in this election, you have an opportunity to elect a Labour MP that can work, hopefully, with fingers crossed, on July the 5th, with a Labour government to really bring investment and change into this area, and to have that first Labour MP here really doing the work in the community, a local voice for this community. So thank you everyone for coming, thank you to the Queen Community for going to Europe, and thank you to Julian.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm so sorry for being late. Like Luke, I own an Italian car, and it is a passion rather than a reliable form of transportation, so apologies for being late this evening. I'm Chris Carter-Chapman, I'm the Conservative Party candidate. I live in the constituency in the beautiful little village of Wadham. I grew up, spent a lot of my time on a farm near Barton, for those of you who know it. And I went to school here in Cambridge, so I attended St Bede's and then Hills Road, and actually arranged the 2005 general election hustings here at Hills Road, or just down the road. I gather, or I understand from the hustings that we have had so far, that some of my opponents are going to talk at length about the last 14 years of Conservative government, and a spoiler alert, they are not going to give it a 5-star review, and I understand some of the points they're about to make, and I'm going to attempt to rebut them, and I'm not going to pretend for a moment that the last 14 years have been easy. We have had huge international and domestic challenges, whether it be the war in Ukraine, whether it be COVID. We've had to spend billions of pounds in furlough support schemes and energy support payments. But I am standing here as a Conservative because I'm proud of our record on equality. I'm proud of the government we have introduced equal marriage. I'm proud that we've invested records amounts in our NHS, though I know we have much more to do. I'm proud to be involved in the campaigns to get the cancer hospital and the children's hospital built right here in Adam Brooks. My family have sadly had cause to spend many months of our lives at those hospitals, which I'm sure we'll talk about this evening. I'm proud of our record on policing in this city, where we've got bike crime down by 60%, where we've got burglaries down by 45%, and I'm working with our Police and Crime Commissioner to see that we have a more visible police presence on our streets. So thank you, and I look forward to a robust discussion tonight.